So we're here at Fishcake in Kaka'ako with Melissa Rivera, who just got off the HGTV White Room challenge. So, so I was just wondering, what is your design style anyway?
I guess I would call my design style, from what I've seen and noticed, I like using functionals, making functional spaces. I like industrial, modern, and I would say with a little touch of fun in there somewhere. So industrial, modern, functional with a pop of fun.
And what kind of design spaces what kind of spaces are you looking to design or create?
The kind of spaces that I enjoy the most doing, that I'm always kind of opening my eyes for, are more commercial spaces, I think, because with the look that I like, I feel like you can have a lot more freedom and fun to add neat little details on the spaces and stuff. Doesn't mean I don't do homes, but I'm kind of aiming for more commercial spaces that, you know, are very functional for if it's an office, if it's a coffee store, if it's whatever it is, you know. I mean, a home is functional by itself too, like what each area, right, and stuff. But commercial spaces are what I'm aiming at for the most part right now.
Although some people, when they live in like lofts or whatever, they kind of have that industrial look too.
Definitely,
right? Yeah.
Like lofts are like my ideal home space. As you see with my design style, like lofts would be fantastic. It's just hard here in Honolulu to find really cool lofts and stuff. There's really cool spaces, you know, down in like by Chinatown area, and like I know they're trying to work here in Kaka'ako area, and there's a lot of really cool spaces that sometimes I see and I'm like, oh, I wish I could go in there and help them out. So, you know, that's kind of the stuff that I really like, adding little like details that make it rugged and strong, but fun too, not cold, because I know a lot of people end up confusing the industrial look and just keeping it cold looking, but I like adding a little bit of color to it so it's not so dry and like you feel like you're freezing in there because it's so cold and serious. So, you know, that's why I say always industrial with a pop of color or fun too.
Neat.
So, yeah.
Now, I know in Hawaii, I was just looking for some advice, because I know in Hawaii people tend to be really safe, and I don't know if it's because they're not creative and they don't know what to do, but there's two trains of thought. One is where they just end up with a lot of neutrals in the house, safe throughout, and then there's the other direction where they have too much. I guess they're trying to or something. Do you have any advice on what to do to bust out of
that little stereotype? Well, I would say, how I normally tackle a space is, if you have too much, like I always go into a space and try to take out whatever you really don't need. Should not be there. If you haven't touched something in years, it shouldn't be there probably, because that means you're either not admiring it or not using it. So either move it somewhere where it's displayed correctly, or just take it out. You know, I'm someone that I like cleaning out like my spaces, because sometimes less is more. I think in some cases, you know, at least in design, I think less is more, but it's harder to achieve, right? It's harder to get rid of the right stuff and keeping only a little bit. But first thing I would do is just go in there, clean stuff out. There's nothing wrong in keeping, I think, with neutrals, because you can never go wrong with those, but you can really have a lot of fun adding those pops of color or accessories and textures, you know. It's nice to have a rich kind of space, but it doesn't mean it has to be packed with stuff. Sometimes I tell people, like, sort of how I try to dress, that's kind of how I design. I try to dress normally with, well, today I have a like, right? It's in my pop of color, but I like having a space where you can invest in a nice couch, you can invest in a nice, you know, solid sort of counter for a kitchen, you know, your stainless steel appliances. Go neutral on that in a way. Go to the safe furniture that it's gonna last you for a while. It's like when you buy a jacket, right? It's better sometimes to spend good on one jacket that's gonna last you years, but then you can have fun with accessories or your walls, you know. You can change that always. Like if you buy a colorful pillow or a rug or something like that that can bring the room to light and, you know, add personality to it, I think that's cool. It's like your jewelry, right? You can have the feather earring thing or like a fun bracelet, but you can always change that, and that can add a little bit of personality. If you get tired of it, boom, you change it. You can change your colors, right? But your furniture is like, and solid pieces, I think, is where you can spend money, and maybe not that much money, but whatever you have or can spend. and use it long term. So it's kind of like your base coat, and then you can have fun. Textures, right? Don't forget curtains, or there's so many lamps, lighting. It's important too. So yeah, but I guess it's always like those two spectrums are opposite. So it's good to find that middle ground where it works for you, and you can still have fun with it long term. So your money goes in the right place. So, or if you ever try to sell that space, it's like because people are selling, and that's what I would do.
Do you think it's weird to mix, like, some people have a lot of classic design, but I notice you have very contemporary stuff. Is it okay to mix
I think so, as long as you know how to mix it. I think it could add really cool things, like, sometimes there's a lot of clean lines and clean things, but you could bring something classic at the same time in. But if it's like an accessory or balanced out, it can make a neat kind of contrast too. So not everything has to be matchy match. I think when you have a space that can bring a little bit of both sides to bring the warmth in, how we were talking about sometimes industrial can tend to seem a little cold to some degree. If you bring softer lines in somewhere, it could balance that side a little bit. And I kind of like doing that, so it's not all like, imagine if I had a red shirt and red shoes and a red watch, and then just like one other black, Sometimes it's fun too, why not red, but a little pop of like maybe white too, maybe matches the black, but it's more fun. That's just how I do that. Some people might disagree, but I think it's okay sometimes, as long as it's tasteful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And probably going to places like Fishcake helps you get tasteful stuff.
Yeah, they have really cool things, and for the most part, this is a great example. You come in Fishcake, you see totally different designers displaying their work, but in a way it kind of works in the space. So, the space is pretty industrial and clean feel, but there's some things that are a little more softer, classic. I don't want to say more grandma style, but maybe it doesn't look as young, but it still looks really cool with the clean industrial that can sometimes people think is more younger or hipper or something, I don't know. So yeah, I think it's okay to mix. It's just, as I say, tastefully and choosing the right things.
And so what's next for you?
What is next for me and Niche? Well, I've been taking things as it goes. Right now I'm trying to think about possibly producing one or two of my designs. It's a process, so you have to work really hard to get money in to be able to save up to make it happen. But I think I want to really try to experience that. I'm still debating the dog houses or the robots. I'm still figuring that one out and really pushing my interior design side a little bit, and looking into finding new projects that are interesting and with good budgets I can really show what I can do, and just interesting things for the community. And I'm open to any ideas or any projects, so I'm always open to moving forward, and you keep learning when you keep moving forward. I'm not stuck somewhere, I was trying to look for what's next, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. There's always room to keep growing. So
cool. And so if people wanted to get in touch with you to like design a room, their own white room, where would they find you? Just online, or?
Yeah, yes, definitely. I have my website. It's unleashstudio.com without ed, because a lot of people think it's unleash. So unleashstudio.com. That's kind of like actually like this. Aha! Very prepared, right? And you can go in there and send me an email. I have my contact information there, and you can come down to Fishcake, see some of the things, and you can ask people here too. And if you probably saw this online, you probably will be able to reach me. Maybe it has my information, I don't know. So yeah, feel free to contact me. I'm always open for things, and if I can do it, I'll be right there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.